Beside the Brook, the story of someone who found the truth, written by Catherine MacDonald. Beside the Brook, Chapter 16, Someone Seeks a Shepherd. A man paced up and down the railway platform of a country junction. From his bearing he appeared to be either tired or impatient. His thoughts seemed not to be concerned with present matters, for as he walked his eyes followed the horizon line with its gentle wooded hills, and lingered on it as he swung round carelessly on his heel when he could go no further. Nearly a year now I've been wandering in this country since I landed, and perhaps I am no nearer to finding him. But still there's hope. He stifled the fear that the father he had not seen for 25 years might be dead. No, I won't believe he's gone. Wherever I've traced him, I've been told that he was well and hearty, but like a will-o'-the-wisp he has always departed. I hope this is the last lap of the search. I've done everything I can think of. Let's see. It was 2 years ago that he was at Salisbury. I'll scour the farms everywhere south of that as I've done around other parts. I'm determined to find him. So rapt was he in thought that he did not notice the passing of the time, and when a general bustle and a shrill whistle amid a crescendo of hissing steam announced the arrival of his train, he gripped his case and ran for it. Before it glided out, he found himself opposite a big, prosperous-looking man who was evidently a farmer, and not many minutes elapsed before they were engaged in conversation. "Country looks well," said John Gray, nodding his head towards the passing landscape where winter operations were in progress. Tractors were busy ploughing the brown slopes, and engines driving threshing machines in yards. Farming is improving in the old country. "What are you comparing it with?" asked the farmer bluntly. "Have you been abroad lately?" "I happen to have a sheep farm in Australia," said the other man. "I've been back here now almost a year and see a big difference. At least I really noticed the improvement in Scotland, but I had no experience of farming in England before I went away." "How long since you went away?" queried the farmer. "About 25 years. "That's a very long time." His companion shook his head. "You must have gone after the first Great War, and since then we've been through another." "Yes, I was only 18 when I set off," said John. He fell silent for a time. Regret for his own cruelty in leaving his dear parents secretly all those years ago rendered him sad. The loving face of his mother appeared before his mind's eye. He knew now that she had died. He had seen the spot where their cottage home had stood. Save for the unkept garden enclosure and a rose bush turned back to briar, no one would have guessed that a house had ever stood there, for the scattered bricks of the ruin were overgrown with weeds. He could have wept at the familiar sight of the countryside. "Youth is often thoughtless and often cruel," he mused. "But there, I meant to make good, though I didn't know it would take so long, and it was too long for my dear mother. I pray God it won't be too late for my dad if I find him." Standing by the tottering gate of the old home, he had understood why the letters he had sent during recent years had never been delivered. The farmer opposite spoke again. "So you're a sheep farmer? Ah, your country lends itself to that. Mine is mixed farming. I don't often leave the farm either, but I'm on business and I grudge this jaunt. Trains aren't in my line either. Rather get about in the car, only the big end went. What's the extent of your range? Roughly 6 square miles, replied John Gray. Whoa, exclaimed his companion. But I've had to work mighty hard, and I didn't go with the intention of sheep farming at all. And how's the farm being managed if you're taking a year off in the old country? Oh, I have reliable men, but even if I hadn't, I should have come all the same. What's the idea? Asked the farmer. I'm looking for my dad, said John. I left the country without letting the old folk know, and this is the first real chance I've had to get back, though I've tried to get in touch of late years. Any luck? No, none, so I came. The home in Scotland is gone. I found my mother's grave in the kirkyard, but my dad went south about 10 years ago, I learned from the folk. I've been from place to place following up clues, a disappointing quest. Folks confused him with one and the other. My dad apparently kept to himself, and in a little while he'll be off somewhere else. What was he doing, wandering about like that? Asked the farmer. He used to be a shepherd, but he broke all the home ties and came to England as a drover. How far have you traced him? Asked his companion. I believe as far as Salisbury, said the other. I haunted the market there for a while and got talking with farmers and countrymen. One or two I spoke to remembered someone who answered to his description, but they didn't know his name. Said he might have got into the employment of a farmer living down the New Forest way. His companion became interested. I'm not so far away from those parts myself, he said. Just over the Dorset border. I know a number of farmers living round there. Do you happen to have the names of any? A ray of hope shot through John's heart. I've collected such a lot of information, he replied. A deal of it useless, I fear. He produced a fat notebook from his wallet and looked up the latest entries. Robbins, Breamore, Farmer Coombs, Vermwood, Farmer Wilmot. His fellow traveller laid a hand on his arm. I know Farmer Wilmot, he said. He comes regularly to Salisbury Market. Saw him less than a month ago. And come to think of it, he slapped his thigh as though to reprove himself for not remembering before. He was only talking to me last time about a singular sort of old chap he had had for some time, a shepherd or something, invaluable with animals. I didn't take much notice at the time, and have forgotten about it since, till your talk reminded me. You're not just imagining this? Asked John. His hopes had so often been raised, only to be dashed down again when he had grown doubtful of trustworthy information. No, that's right, persisted the farmer. I'm sure of it now. And holding up the forefinger of his horny right hand, he emphasized his instruction. You go to Farmer Wilmot's place at Knutswood. Where are you bound for now? Blandford, replied John. Well, you do as I say, find Father Wilmot's place, and if you don't discover your old dad there, you'll find him somewhere round that way. The farmer seemed so confident of the advice that he offered that John could not help being impressed. If anything comes of this, I'll let you know, he promised. I feel that my search is nearly over. Yes, you tell me. Put down my address in your book. All. Joseph Hall. Hatch's Farm, Wimborne. That's me. The train stopped more frequently than before at the country stations, and John could scarcely contain his anxiety to get the journey over. He looked at his watch. It was too late to do anything today. Tomorrow he would set out for Knutswood. What was the day? February the 2nd. Would February the 3rd be the great day when he would find his dear old dad? The countryside was beautiful with its flat valleys between the hills. Floodwaters over the meadows hid the river channels, but promised fertility for next summer's hay. Now the train ran through pine woods, whose dark beauty was lit by the gold of the setting sun, and then into the open country again. "We'll soon be home now," said Farmer Hall, who pictured his own warm dining-room with logs blazing on the hearth, and his family gathered round. "I wonder if I'll find a home tomorrow," thought John wistfully.